guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel and welcome to the official day 1 video of our journaling series that we're doing in November. I am so excited for this series, and if you haven't noticed, I actually did create a poll on the community tab on my channel asking you guys what you would like to see the most, so keep an eye out if you didn't already get a chance to vote for that. I'm going to actually be uploading them. The next one will go up after this video goes live, and I'll leave that so that way you guys can vote on it until next week's video. And if you guys have any ideas too, I am always open to video ideas. If there's anything you guys would really love to see, definitely drop it in the comments, or you can post it, like I said, on those polls too. But with that being said, I wanted to talk about today's video. So I was really excited that you guys, I think 50% of you wanted to see a journaling for mental health video. This is by far the videos that I have on mental health are some of the most popular videos on my channel, and it's something that I'm really passionate about and love talking about. So today I just wanted to sit down and chat with you guys. I'm not gonna actually show you these things in my journal just because I thought it would be helpful to start this off with some journaling prompts for you to take into your journal. In the coming weeks, I'll kind of show you clips of how I use what I'm talking about in my journal. That makes sense? So with that being said, for today, I have 15 journaling prompts for mental health. So if you want to have some ideas for how to journal for mental health, you'll start to notice a little bit of a theme, and I'll kind of touch on it as I go. But a lot of these prompts tend to have more of a focus on making sure you're writing positive things. It can be very easy when you're journaling, especially if you struggle with depression like I do, to start focusing solely on the negative and the negative things that you're feeling. It can actually make it worse when you're journaling. It can help by kind of getting everything on paper, but it can also have the opposite effect. So the journaling prompts that I'm going to give you guys today are really focused on shifting your mindset a little bit so that way you can get into a better state of mind with your journal, and actually use that to help you. With that being said, if you want to hear my 15 journaling prompts for mental health, definitely keep watching. And if you're not already, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. As I mentioned, I'm doing a journaling series for the month of November. On every Wednesday, I'm uploading a video related to some type of journaling, journal prompts, how to journal, all that good stuff each week in November. So if you're not already subscribed, be sure to subscribe. And if you are subscribed but don't currently get notifications, hit that bell icon so that you'll be notified every time I upload so you don't miss a video in this series. Let's get the series started, shall we? I have my notebook. If you see me looking down, it's so I say everything that I want to say to you, because there's a lot. So the first prompt that I wanted to talk about is making an emotions list. This is basically just a brain dump of how you're feeling. So what I like to do is I'll just title it at the top of the page, emotions list. I'll list out everything that I'm feeling. It's just a brain dump of, okay, I'm stressed about this, I'm worried about this, I'm thinking about this, I've got this coming up soon. It's just literally every emotion, every feeling, every worry you have, you're just putting it all into this big list on a sheet of paper. So you're not analyzing it or writing extensively about it. It's just, I usually just do a bullet point list and write everything out. So it's just to get all of it out onto paper. This is the one way that I've really found where I'm writing down how I'm feeling is actually pretty constructive, because even just getting it out onto paper, I can see, wow, okay, I have a lot on my mind right now. That makes sense that my anxiety is a little bit higher. So it definitely gives you, I think, a better bird's eye view of everything that's going on with you rather than you just ruminating over it in your head. The next prompt is to write a letter to your younger self about your favorite things, people, memories from the last, say, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. When we're really in our heads and struggling with our mental health, it can be very easy to focus on just kind of get tunnel vision and just focus on what's happening right now. And we're not looking at the bigger picture. For me, this was incredibly helpful this summer. I started to get very in my head about a lot of things and was struggling. And doing this prompt really helped me see, wow, my younger self would have been proud of the things that I've done. Maybe I'm not exactly where I want to be right now, but wow, look at how much I've already experienced and the people I've met and all of that. So it's a good journal prompt to help you see the bigger picture. Prompt 3 is to write about a favorite memory. Again, when we're struggling with our mental health, it can be very easy to just see the negative side of things and only see kind of the doom and gloom. Really struggle to find that light at the end of the tunnel, and writing about a favorite memory or something that you really love that happened, an experience that you did, a trip you took, anything along those lines will get your mindset focused on kind of brighter, happier times than what's happening right now. And it's not necessarily that you're trying to push how you're feeling right now away, more so just that you're remembering happier things. Because what tends to happen in our brains is when we're thinking about the negative things or our stress or our anxiety or whatever it is that's happening in your brain that you feel like you're struggling with your mental health, it can be easy to just keep thinking about it, and it just becomes this vicious cycle of like going back and forth and just running in circles, unhealthy and kind of unhelpful thought patterns. What this does is it kind of breaks that pattern and allows you to just remember a good thing. You know, it makes you feel better in the moment. So the next one is, what can I learn about what's happening right now? Some of these prompts are going to be kind of central to what's happening in 2020 and the pandemic, just because I think that 2020 has been a time for everyone. Focusing like this, I've been listening to a few podcasts recently, and this theme has come up a couple times. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me, saying, what can I learn from this? Or how can I grow from this? This is happening for me, not to me. And I think that this journaling prompt helps you, again, reframe your thinking to, okay, so this isn't exactly an ideal situation of how I'm feeling right now, but what can I learn from it? How can I take this and apply it to, you know, help me grow or help me, you know, maybe cope the next time that something like this happens? Anything like that. I think it's a solid way to reframe your perspective on it. Prompt 5, I love this one. So it's a great way to get out of your head and just like thinking of more positive things without trying to force your emotions away. So this next one is to write a letter to your favorite person, to yourself, to your best friend, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your dog. I wrote a letter to Bailey once when I was doing this because I just needed to think about someone that was like a very unconditional love type of person in my life, and that's Bailey. He's my people, you know? What you want to do with this letter is you want to write to your person or your dog just about how much you love them and what you love about them and what you love, you know, if it's an actual person in your life, a human in your life, what you love that they do for you, or how you love how much they're there for you, anything like that. And even just this, you don't ever have to give it to them. It doesn't have to be something like that, but it can just be a good way for you to just show appreciation. And the thing is when we're thinking about things that we appreciate and we're focusing on that and things that we love about someone else, we're going to start to get more of those positive, feel good things that we love thoughts back in our brain. Shifting our brain to focus on more of the more positive, more loving emotions, which is going to start to shift your mindset a little bit. Definitely, if you have a dog, write a letter to your dog. It will make you feel all the love. When you realize how unconditional a pet's love is for their human. Number 6 is, what is causing me stress and anxiety right now? So this is kind of a little similar to the first one, but this can be a little bit more of you describing the current situation. So rather than it just being a list, it can be, you know, maybe if there's just one big thing that you're kind of stressing over, this can be something where you just kind of write it all out. Again, you're not being critical of yourself here. You're not like critiquing yourself. It's just, okay, very objective. Try and take the emotions out of it as far as, okay, what's happening that's actually causing me this stress, this anxiety, this struggle with my mental health. If you don't know what it is, this can also kind of help shed some light on that. So I just, with this, would really just give myself the time to free write. So you're not scratching things out, you're not editing things, you're not going back and changing it. Writing whatever comes to mind and letting your hand flow across the paper is extremely helpful for this, because it will help you, again, shed light if you don't currently know why you're struggling with your mental health, or if you can't really put words to how you're feeling. Just letting yourself free write will start to form the idea better in your head. It's helpful to just help you figure out what's going on in your brain. I think a lot of times we can just overthink so much, and it can be so hard to actually know what's even stressing us out because there's so much going on in our day-to-day life. Number 7 is, what brings you peace and why? This is a really simple one, but it's just something that can help you calm down, especially if it's your anxiety that you're struggling with. This can just, even talking about what brings you peace, you know, for me, I love petting my dog. That's something that brings me peace, like cuddling with my dog. It's a very peaceful, calming thing for me. That can be something that you write about, and just write about how it makes you feel, why you love it, why it makes you feel better. And even just writing about it, even if you're not actually doing the thing that you're talking about that causes you peace, will help you feel calmer and a little bit more at peace with the current situation. Number 8 is really helpful if you're struggling with self-criticism, self-doubt, any kind of, like, if you're beating yourself up in your head and just really struggling with your self-esteem or your confidence. This is a great prompt for that. So number 8 is, what is one thing that you are proud of yourself for? And it doesn't have to be anything that you've done today or yesterday. It can be something that you're proud of that happened years ago, and just talking about why it is that you're proud of yourself for it and what you did that made you feel proud of yourself. This is so helpful for for changing your inner thoughts and inner dialogue from a very self-critical, self-doubt, just mean place to a more loving, gracious way of viewing yourself, because you're like, no, but I did this, and really talking about what it took for you to do the thing that you're proud of, why you're proud of that. It's such a powerful prompt to really start to shift that inner dialogue. Number 9 is specific to this year, but I think it's important because, like I said, I think 2020 has just been a struggle for everybody, especially when it comes to mental health and handling that, because it has just been a year full of craziness. Number 9 is, has 2020 and or the pandemic had any positive effects on your mental health and or any negative effects on your mental health? And if so, what are they? I forced myself to, because obviously, of course, everyone can probably think of more of the negative things of 2020 and the negative things that have happened. I forced myself to do both. So I actually split these into two columns rather, and had the positive impact and the negative impact. So I started with the negative impact, wrote down, okay, the negative impacts that 2020 pandemic, however you want to phrase this. And you can always drop in something else here if you don't want to talk about 2020 in your journal. But for me, that was something that was helpful. So I did all the negative things that I felt like things that had negatively affected my mental health throughout the year, especially when it came to the pandemic and, you know, self-quarantine, talked about that. And then I ended with the positive effects, because again, we're working on shifting that mindset. So starting with the negative first and then looking at the positive things means that by the time you're done writing, you're going to be focused more on the positive. I mean, it definitely took some time to think through, but what I loved about this was the more I was thinking of positive things, the more things came to me. It ended up being a pretty lengthy list because I realized that I'm so much more grateful for things this year that I maybe didn't realize or didn't pay as much attention to in previous years as I do now. I just ended up having this beautiful list of things that I'm actually really grateful for and positive effects that 2020 has had on my life and on my mental health, and even just helping me build my strength throughout the year and my kind of mental stamina to be able to handle pretty much anything now. I feel like this is a great journaling prompt. It does take a little bit of time, but it's worth the time to put in because it just really shows you this year has had a lot of just stuff happen and everyone's really struggled with that, but there's also still positive things. If we can look through the clouds to the sunshine, there's still things that have happened in 2020 or even experiences, anything like that, that have helped us, even if it's just being more appreciative of the time that we can spend with our family and friends and the health that we have and all of that. So this is a really powerful prompt for me. The next one I have, let's see what's next. Number 10 is, what are 20 things that you're grateful for from 2020? These are 20 things that either happened to you, people you met, things that have happened, anything like that. 20 things, big or small, that you are grateful for that have happened in the year 2020. Again, reframing that perspective, that way you're actually thinking about good things instead of constantly bombarding yourself with all these negative thoughts. Always love my gratitude list. I've talked about that so much on my channel. Number 11 is, what are things I am currently worrying about? Are they within my control or power to be able to change? And if not, how can I release that worry? This has been something, again, with these podcasts that I listened to recently, that I've found so helpful, looking at things as, is this within my control? I tend to be someone that overthinks things to the ends of the earth. It can be really difficult to stop that cycle. One way that's really been helpful for me is looking at things like, okay, I'm worrying about this thing, I'm stressed about this thing, my anxiety is at an all-time high because of this thing. Is it within my control? If it's not within my control, how can I release this? What can I do to start to release that anxiety since I have no control over it? Or what is a way that I can control, whether it's my reaction to it? How can I adjust this? And what this does for me is it allows me to focus on the things that I can control. You know, I can't control everything that's happening in the world outside of me, but I control how I react to it. How can I approach this in a way that helps alleviate my anxiety? This prompt just helps you reframe your mindset so that way you're focusing on the things that you can control rather than stressing yourself out, worrying yourself to death, and really negatively affecting your mental health on things that you can't change. Number 12 is a little bit of a specific one, but it's something throughout the year that I've found to be extremely important. And it's journaling about how social media has been making me feel. I've done this a couple of times throughout the year because I noticed back in March when all of this really started hitting very close to home with the pandemic and everything, I was spending hours scrolling and reading the news, and just it was so detrimental to my mental health, but I was scrolling constantly when everything was happening, and it just completely annihilated my self-care practices. I got completely in my head. My anxiety went through the roof, and I sat down one night and journaled about it, and I realized it was because of how much time I was spending on social media. I wasn't letting my brain turn off, and it was just going and going over all this information that I had been consuming from my social media scrolling. So writing down how social media is making you feel right now, and also taking a look at your screen time. I added a little widget to my home screen that you can see your screen time, and you can click on it and it'll tell you how much time you're spending on each app. It kind of always isn't the most accurate for me because a lot of my work apps are included in that screen time, but I can see like how much time I spend on Instagram and Facebook, and those are kind of the two big social media platforms that I use the most. What this journal prompt does, to get back to that, it kind of shows you like, okay, I'm really letting these certain things on social media affect my mental health. And as you're writing this, you should kind of start to flesh that out and see that, you know, it could be certain accounts that you're following, or ways that maybe account that you are following is making you feel, or maybe you're reading too much about, you know, politics or the news about the pandemic. You'll start to see what issues are affecting you, and you can adjust your screen time accordingly. Prompt number 13 is to write down 5 things that you're proud of or have accomplished during the last week. So now we are getting a little bit more specific on the time frame. When I'm struggling with my mental health, I tend to look at the past with rose-colored glasses and look at the future as this scary, terrifying thing when I'm really struggling with my mental health. Writing down a few things that I'm proud of that have happened in the last week makes me say, okay, this is actually things that I've done, like concrete things that I can see. Okay, so there's really no reason for me to think that, you know, my entire life's falling apart right now. Writing a few things down that I feel like I've accomplished in the last week, really helpful for helping me get back to the current moment and the present moment. Number 14, again, is a good way to help you get back into the present moment and back focused on where you're at right now. And it's to just describe your day. Describe your day in as much detail as possible using all of your senses. What did you see, taste, hear, smell? What was your favorite part of your day? Anything like that, but just describe it in detail. So really, really remember the moment. And this is gonna help you start to activate your ability to be more mindful in the moment. And when we're in the present moment, it's a lot harder to be struggling with our mental health because we're not obsessing over the past or stressing about the future. Instead, we're right here, right now. But if you're someone that maybe don't feel like you can meditate, doing a journaling prompt like this will also help you get into that present moment, that similar to what meditation does. It puts you right into that exact moment in time, and you're describing it in complete detail. So really helpful if you are someone that has wanted to start mindfulness practice but doesn't really know where to start. Good journal prompt for that. And last but not least, write a goal that you would love to start working towards. This doesn't have to be something that you're saying, I'm gonna start this tomorrow, but it can just be a goal that you're like, wow, that would be so awesome to work towards. It can be anything. Like maybe it doesn't have to be a big thing, big or small, whatever you want it to be. Also talk about how it would positively affect your life and why you want to achieve this specific goal. I could talk about goal setting forever, but I won't because this video is already getting super long. With goal setting, it's important to, when you're writing a goal, to be specific with it. So making sure, you know, it's not just, oh, I want to be happy. It's something specific that you actually want to, like, that you could check off a list, like, okay, I did this. And writing why you want to work towards it and how it would positively impact your life can actually inspire you to start working on it, even if it's something small. And by doing that, it's going to start shifting your thoughts away from the other things that are kind of stressing you out and causing your anxiety and maybe affecting your depression, and getting you to focus on something. Because I found the best way for me to help my mental health is by setting a goal. And I've learned that this year. And it's not always a huge, crazy huge goal. It can be something very small, but if I know I'm working towards something, my mental health shifts almost within a day. And I learned that this year. So that is one of the things that I'm grateful for in 2020, that I've learned such a simple shift to start shifting my mental health if I'm struggling to a more positive, more beneficial, healthier place. Those are the 15 journaling prompts I have for mental health. I hope you guys found these helpful. If you did, I would love to hear which one resonated with you. I'd love to hear which ones you're trying out in your journal too. So if you want to go ahead and drop a comment down below, and if you're not already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.